Hi guys, so welcome to Unacademy and welcome to this live session. Here we'll be discussing a few more things about environment and ecology with respect to environmental pollution, keeping in mind smog and acid rain. We'll just wait for a few moments for a few people to join in and then we'll go on get going with the discussion for the day. Alright? Meanwhile, in case you guys have any queries in general regarding anything, you can ask me right away. Alright, now going further with the discussion for the day. So today we have to discuss about two important things, one being smog and the other one being acid rain. Right, so these are the two topics that we are going to discuss in today's session over here. Right? Now, when we get to talking about smog, what do we understand by smog? Smog is basically a word that is derived from the combination of two words. The term smog is a combination of the words smoke and fog. right? So that is how we get the term smog. So it is basically the condition wherein the fog has smoke particles in it, right? So that is how we get smog. Now, ever since Diwali, the papers have been flooded with the discussion regarding smog. So there have been so many articles regarding the fact that Delhi is reeling under a great smog cover. There is so much of smog in Delhi, and all these things have been there, right? So what is smog in this particular respect, right? So basically, when the temperatures go down and little bit of condensation starts to occur all across or around the suspended particulate matter that is dispensed in the air, it is termed as smog, right? So that is about it over here. Now, the smog is also various types. It can be photochemical smog, it can be London smog, and all those things. So now let's get into looking into the various kinds of smog. So now, when we speak about smog, there are two types of smog. One is the London type of smog, and the other one is a Los Angeles or photochemical smog. When we speak of the London type of smog, it occurs at very cold temperatures. So one of the prerequisites for the London smog to occur is very cold temperatures. So it has to be pretty cold for the London smog to occur, right? The next one we have is the Los Angeles or photochemical smog. Now, the important feature regarding the Los Angeles or photochemical smog is the fact that it occurs on sunny days, right? So remember, if the smog is occurring at very cold temperatures, it is the London type of smog, and when it is occurring on sunny days, it is the Los Angeles or photochemical smog, right? Now, when we speak of the London type of smog, it is produced as a result of burning activities when pollutants like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and dust are released and they mix with fog, right? अब लॉस एंजलीस और फोटोकेमिकल स्मॉग की अगर बात करें तो इट इज़ बेसिकली अ रिजल्ट ऑफ वेहिकुलर पोल्यूशन nitrogenous oxides from automobile exhausts and hydrocarbons react in the presence of sunlight to produce a mixture of aerosols, right? So that is how we get the Los Angeles or photochemical smog, right? So I'll repeat the two again for you over here. So we have smog, which is basically derived from the word smoke and fog. So when they mix and then they generate or create a certain suspension in air, it is termed as smog, right? We have two kinds of smog: the London type of smog and the Los Angeles or photochemical smog. The London smog characteristically occurs at very low temperatures. It is produced as a result of burning activities when pollutants like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and dust are released and they mix with fog. On the contrary, the Los Angeles smog occurs on sunny days. It is a clear result of vehicular pollution. Nitrogenous oxides from automobile exhaust and hydrocarbons react in the presence of sunlight to basically produce a mixture of aerosols. This is termed as what? This is termed as your photochemical smog, right? So that is about the photochemical smog that we have over here, right? So that is about it. I'll give you a moment to quickly get through it, read through the things. In case you still have any doubts regarding anything, you let me know. I will go on over it again for you, right? Please go through it. In case you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section right away. Alright, so now let's get on going and let's go on further with the discussion regarding where we left here. So now when we speak about the various other kinds of like the when we go on further and we'll speak about smog now, so we have to take into account a few more aspects with respect to it, right? So now when we speak about like the various kinds of smog, okay, hi Kartike, welcome to the session. So when we are going to speak about it, we have to talk about a few more things over here, right? So we have to discuss a few more things with respect to it. So let's get into the details of photochemical smog, right? So now when we speak about photochemical smog, it basically occurs on bright sunny days, right? When will it occur? It will be occurring on bright sunny days, right? That's when it will be occurring. So when we speak about the photochemical smog occurring on bright sunny days, what is an important aspect of it? The important aspect it is that primary pollutants that are there, that are present in the soil. So whatever, not the soil but the atmosphere. So whatever primary pollutants we have in the atmosphere, like nitrogen is there, oxides of oxygen are there, then hydrocarbons are there, like basically all these various kinds of pollutants, what will happen is they'll undergo a photochemical reaction, as a result of which powerful oxidants like ozone, aldehydes, sulfuric acid, peroxyacetyl nitrate, peroxides etc. are produced, right? So होगा क्या, जब bright sunny day होगा for the creation of photochemical smog, ये जितने भी pollutants हैं, the primary pollutants essentially, they will undergo a photochemical reaction, and as a result of their photochemical reaction, secondary pollutants which are going to be very very highly what do we say, they are going to be highly polluting in nature will be formed, right? So that is another important aspect regarding it. Okay, so that is what happens. Okay, so that is about it. Now when we go back and discuss about this, so when these particular highly oxidizing when we talk about the highly oxidizing ones over here, so उसकी वजह से क्या होता है, उसकी वजह से ये होता है कि a very highly oxidizing mixture is created in the atmosphere. Now this is, or rather this reducing mixture that is so create is termed as what? This is termed as a photochemical smog, right? So highly oxidizing, like very powerful oxidants, like oxidizing agents will be produced, like ozone will be there, aldehydes will be there, sulfuric acid will be there, peroxyacetyl nitrate will be there, peroxides etc. are going to be produced, and this results in the formation of photochemical smog, right? So that is about it. Now when we speak about the various effects of smog, so speaking about the various effects of smog, what do we have? The most predominant effect is the reduced visibility, which makes the air hazy. So smog kya karegi? It makes the air hazy. It causes respiratory problems. Obviously people won't be able to breathe as easily as possible, and it triggers acute respiratory disorders, right? It also prevents the UV radiations from reaching the ground, and this in turn restricts what? It will restrict the vitamin D absorption. So that is one of the things that is going to happen with respect to this over here. Okay? So these are the various impacts of smog. Now we have to get to the next topic, that is acid rain. I'll give you a minute in case you have any doubts regarding the photochemical smog. You can ask me right away, otherwise we'll go on further. In case you have any doubts, ask me, otherwise we'll discuss the thing further. I hope it is clear to all of you. Alright, now going on further, let's get to talking about acid rain. So you guys must have heard about various phenomenon like the fact like there's acid rain which is occurring, because of which the monuments are degrading, are getting corroded. So that is what like we usually hear in the news, right? Now acid rain means the presence of excessive acids in the rain. So when the rainfall or whatever precipitation is occurring, be it be it snow, be it rain, be it fog, be it mist, so if it is dispersed with a lot of acids in it, it is termed as an acid precipitation. So acid rain refers to any precipitation, be it rain, fog, mist or snow, that is more acidic than normal with a pH of less than 5.6. Right? So pH below 7 is taken to be acidic. Acid rain is caused by atmospheric pollution from acidic gases such as sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen emitted from burning of fossil fuels, right? That is how it takes place. It is also recognized that acidic smog, fog, mist move out of the atmosphere and settle on dust particles, which in turn accumulate on vegetation as acid depositions. When rain falls, the acid from these depositions leak and form acid dews, right? So that is about it over here. So इसमें क्या क्या होता है? So basically the various burning activities release the various oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, right? These on mixing with water vapor in the atmosphere convert into their respective acids. So sulfur dioxide and other sulfur oxides get converted into sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, and nitrogen oxides and nitrogen dioxides and other gases get converted into HNO3, that is your nitric acid, right? Now once they are dispersed in the atmosphere, they mix with the, or rather they are formed in the clouds and all those places where reactions take place. So then whenever snowfall or precipitation of any kind takes place, they come down as acid particles and gases, acid snow and acid rain, right? So in these ways this kind of precipitation occurs, right? Now going further, let's talk about the types of acid deposition. We usually think कि अगर acid rain हो रहा है तो mostly it will just take place in the form of rainfall. That is a general misconception. So when we speak about acid rain, it is a broad term referring to a mixture of wet and dry deposition from the atmosphere. ठीक है? What is acid rain? So basically it is a broad term referring to a mixture of wet and dry deposition from the atmosphere. Speaking about wet deposition, if the acid chemicals in the air are blown into areas where the weather is wet, the acids can fall to the ground in the form of rain, snow, fog or mist, right? Now, as this acidic water flows over and through the ground, it affects a variety of plants and animals. So that is how they are affected here. Speaking about dry deposition, so in areas where the weather is dry, right, and the acid chemicals may become incorporated into dust or smoke, and once they are incorporated into dust and smoke, they will fall to the ground because of gravity, right? So remember what happens in case of dry deposition. So in areas where the weather is dry, the acid chemicals may become incorporated into dust or smoke and fall to the ground through dry deposition. So in those cases, the kind of precipitation that will be occurring will be what? It is going to be dry deposition, right? So it will be sticking to the ground, buildings, vegetation, scars, etc., right? Now, dry deposited gases and particles can be washed from these surfaces by rainstorms through runoff, and this runoff water makes the resulting mixture more acidic, right? So that is about it. Also, about half of the acidity in the atmosphere falls back to the earth through dry deposition. So please remember that majority of the acid rain or the acid deposition that takes place is going to be in the form of dry deposition. We usually think or we usually feel that it might be just acid rain that is going to take place. That is a generalized misconception, does not occur like that. Right? So half of the acidity of the atmosphere or in the atmosphere falls back to earth in the form of dry deposition, right? So this is how, please remember what are the various forms of acid deposition, be it wet, be it dry, what happens in case of wet deposition, what happens in case of dry deposition, right? Also remember, acid rain is a broad term referring to a mixture of wet and dry deposition, like basically different forms of deposition from the atmosphere. It is not exclusive to just rainfall, it is all forms of precipitation which are incorporated and included for herein, right? So all of them are accounted for under one head itself, right? So that is your acid rain. All right, so you guys like just read through the slide. In case you have any doubts, then let me know, otherwise we'll go on further. I hope it is clear to all of you now. Alright, now having discussed this, let's go further and let's discuss about the acid rain formation. So like I explained, various burning activities, be it automobile exhaust, release sulfur and nitrogen into the soil, or sorry, the atmosphere, right? So various burning activities and automobile exhaust release sulfur and nitrogen into the atmosphere. Now when these react with oxygen, like as and when they reach the atmosphere, they are converted to their respective oxides, right? Be it sulfur dioxide, be it nitrogen dioxide. Okay? Pehle they will be just sulfur and nitrogen which will be released. On mixing with air, they convert into various oxides, right? Now these are soluble in water, so both these oxides or whatever oxides will be formed, they are going to be water soluble. Right, now since they are water soluble, what happens? Now these are soluble in water and react with water vapor to form acids like the sulfuric acid and the nitric acid. Right, other acids like the sulfurous and nitrous acid are also formed in certain cases. Alright, now these on precipitating with rain or snow lead to acid rain or acid snow, right? So that is how acid rain or acid snow is formed. Okay, so just have a look given alongside. So we see that a factory and an automobile is releasing sulfur and nitrogen which convert into their oxides on mixing with the air. On mixing with water vapor in the atmosphere, they are converted into their respective acids like sulfuric acid and nitric acid, and then dry deposition basically comprising of particulate material and gases takes place, and along with that wet deposition comprising rain, snow and sleet also takes place, right? So that is about it over here. Okay, so that is how it goes on with respect to all these things over here. ठीक. Now we speak about acid shock or spring shock. Now the snow and ice formed over lakes and rivers has much of sulfuric acid in there, right? In spring, when the snow melts and water enters the lakes and rivers, the sulfuric acid gets mingled into the water bodies, making them highly acidic. ठीक है, so क्या होता है, in spring when the snow melts and water enters the lakes and rivers, the sulfuric acid gets mingled into the water bodies, making them highly acidic there, right? So that is what happens. Now, when we speak about the effects of acid rain, what happens over there? It increases the acidity of soil and hence destroys forests and crops, right? So, that is one of the things that happens with respect to that over there, right? So, it increases the acidity of soil and hence destroys the forests and crops, right? Other than that, what happens? Acid precipitation reduces the rate of photosynthesis. It also corrodes buildings, monuments, statues, buildings, fences, and railings, right? It poses a serious threat to human health since it contaminates air and water. It has a detrimental impact or effect on the human nervous system and therefore leads to various neurological disorders, right? So these are the various effects of acid rain. Now we have to come to the third phenomenon which we have to take up for discussion, that is ocean acidification. Before that, in case you have any doubt with respect to the like acid rain formation, let me know right away. I will take your doubts now. Before that, I'll explain acid shock or spring shock at length. अब एसिड शॉक और स्प्रिंग शॉक कैसे होता है ये मैं आपको थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर देती हूँ. सो बेसिकली सपोज कीजिए किसी पर्टिकुलर एरिया में, किसी पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन में आपका लाइक एसिड डिपोजिशन हुआ, राइट, बी इट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एसिड स्नो और लाइक रैंडम डिपोजिशन इन जनरल. सो बेसिकली वहाँ पर वो हो गया, राइट. सो दोज काइंड ऑफ प्रेसिपिटेशंस टुक प्लेस ओवर देयर, ठीक है. अब उससे क्या होगा, अगर वहाँ पर सपोज करो एसिड स्नो हो गया है, सो एज एंड व्हेन दैट मेल्ट्स, लाइक एज एंड व्हेन द स्नो विल मेल्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द वार्म समर सीजन और like the sun coming out, so the snow will start melting. Now as and when the snow will be melting, what will happen as a result of that? As a result of the melting snow, what happens is that the water that will be so released is going to mix into the various water bodies, right? So it will be mixing into the various water bodies because springs में जाएगा, lakes में जाएगा, rivers में जाएगा. Now when this happens, like when this acidic deposition which is there, it thaws and melts and the so-called acid deposition goes and gets mixed or mingled with water bodies, what happens there is it will increase or rather it will decrease the pH. So उससे क्या होगा, water body बहुत ज़्यादा acidic हो जाएगी. So what happens as a result of this huge like shock that will be there, or rather huge change or a big change in acidity, what happens, the fish and the other aquatic animals that have been living there will not be able to cope up with such a change. Such a change is basically like a resultant of the change in pH, or because it is because of the fact कि acid like smeared water basically mingled in there and acid rain की वजह से ये हुआ था, because of which the entire water body got acidic. What happens is that these particular areas or these particular regions will be under a shock, right? So because these areas or these regions will be experiencing a shock like situation, it is termed as acid shock. इसको हम लोग alternatively spring shock भी बोलते हैं. क्यों इसको हम लोग spring shock इसलिए बोलते हैं, because this usually occurs in spring or it occurs in spring time, right? spring में ही आपकी जो snow है वो thaw होगी, spring में ही snow melt होनी शुरू होगी, right? So that is the time after winters when the temperatures increase or will rise continuously. So that is when the acid shock or spring shock comes into the picture, right? So I hope you guys are clear around the genesis of the same. So in summers, when the snow clad peaks with maybe acid snow that is there will be thawing and it will be melting, it will lead to what? It will lead to the formation or rather the dissolution of, or it will lead to the like melting of snow, thawing of snow, because of which what will happen, a lot of these will be going down into the water bodies, as a result of which what happens is that these particular water bodies will have a sudden dip in pH, जिसकी वजह से क्या होगा, जिसकी वजह से ये होगा कि यहाँ का जो pH है वो नीचे आएगा, they'll become very very acidic and there will be the death of aquatic flora and fauna. I'll give you 2 minutes, please go through the topic that I've just explained. In case you have any doubts, let me know. I'm waiting. Alright, so I don't think so you guys have any doubts, so we'll go on further. Now let's talk about ocean acidification. Right, so ocean acidification is another very pertinent issue or problem that is standing right here, and it needs proper solutions to deal with it. Right, अब ocean acidification क्या होती है? Ocean acidification has been called the evil twin of global warming and the other carbon dioxide problem. Ocean acidification is the ongoing decrease in the pH of Earth's oceans caused by the uptake of carbon dioxide, right, from the atmosphere. ठीक है? Alright, now an estimated 30 to 40% of the carbon dioxide from human activity released into the atmosphere dissolves into oceans, rivers, and lakes. To achieve chemical equilibrium, some of it reacts with water to form carbonic acid, right? Some of these extra carbonic acid molecules react with the water molecule to give a bicarbonate ion and a hydronium ion, thus increasing ocean acidity, that is the H positive ion concentration, right? Checking carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide emissions and controlling pollutions are the only means to reduce ocean acidification, right? So both of them are going to be there, right? So these are the various options that these are the various things that we have over here, right? So just read through it in case you guys have a doubt, then let me know. Otherwise, we'll continue with the discussion. Now, when we go on further discussing the same, we get to talking about the effects of ocean acidification. So, how is ocean acidification going to impact everything else, right? So, what happens is oceans are an important reservoir for carbon dioxide, absorbing a significant quantity of it, right? That is 1/3 of the carbon dioxide, right? So, almost the 1/3 of carbon dioxide which is produced by anthropogenic activities, it is basically taken up by the ocean and effectively buffering climate change. So it actually plays a very, very important role in buffering the climate change, right? The uptake of carbon dioxide is occurring at a rate exceeding the natural buffering capacity of the oceans, creating new problems in the form of ocean acidification, right? Now, increasing acidity represses the metabolic rates and immune responses in some organisms. Also, other chemical reactions are triggered which result in a net decrease in the amount of carbonate ions available. ठीक है? This makes it more difficult for marine calcifying organisms such as corals and some planktons to form biogenic calcium carbonate, right? Commercial fisheries are threatened because acidification harms calcifying organisms which form the base of Arctic food webs. Acidification could damage the Arctic tourism economy and affect the way of life of indigenous people, right? A major pillar of Arctic tourism is the sport fishing and hunting industry. Increasing the acidity accentuates coral bleaching as corals are very sensitive to changes in water composition, right? So that is another important feature here. So these are the various important effects or rather the various things or implications of ocean acidification, right? I'll come back to this. After this, we'll talk about the various kinds of ocean acidification that are having an impact on calcifying ability. Further on, we'll speak about the impact of ocean acidification on cloud formation. Right? So these are the two important phenomena we'll be discussing about. So before we get to that, we have to put some light on ocean acidification and the effects. So pehle, let's go on again over what exactly is ocean acidification, what is going to happen here. Okay? So we say that it is the evil twin of global warming. Why? Because the more amount of carbon dioxide that is produced, the more amount of ocean acidification is going to take place, right? So ocean acidification में होता क्या है? It leads to the decrease in Earth's ocean's pH because of the constant or rampant uptake of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Though it is important because it is basically saving us a lot of global warming which would otherwise have occurred, but still it is the problem because what is happening is it is taking up the entire carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, right? Also, an estimated 30 to 40% of carbon dioxide from human activity released into the atmosphere dissolves into oceans, rivers, and lakes, right? So, that is another very important feature that happens over here. So, an estimated 30 to 40% of the carbon dioxide from human activity releases into the atmosphere, dissolves into oceans, rivers, and lakes, right? To achieve chemical equilibrium, some of it reacts with water to form carbonic acid. Okay? So to achieve chemical equilibrium, some of it will react with water to form what? To form carbonic acid, right? Now, some of these extra carbonic acid molecules react with a water molecule to give a bicarbonate ion and a hydronium ion, thus increasing the ocean acidity. तो क्या होगा उससे? जो ocean में H positive ion, that is hydronium ions की concentration है, that will increase. अब ये तो हम सबको पता है, जैसे ही H positive ions की concentration increase होती है, that means what? That the acidity is increasing and the pH is falling down, right? Now what option do we have in order to curb it? हम इसको ठीक करने के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं? There is only one way, that is checking the carbon monoxide and dioxide emissions. तो अगर आपके carbon monoxide और carbon dioxide emissions जो हैं, they will be within control, they'll play a very long, or they'll go a very long way in controlling pollution, right? They are the only means to reduce ocean acidification, because if there is going to be a rampant increase in the amount of carbon monoxide and dioxide emissions, what is going to be a resultant of the same? The resultant will be that these particular pollutions are not going to come down and it is going to increase furthermore, right? So that is about it, right? So quickly read through this slide. I'll give you 2 minutes to read through. अगर अभी भी कोई point clear नहीं है तो let me know, I'll go over it again. Alright, so I hope you guys are clear with everything because I see no doubts anywhere. Alright, now going on further, let's get to talking about the next aspect that we have in line, which is going to be in line with all those things related to what relates to the effects or impacts of the same, right? So now as we speak about the effects and impacts of ocean acidification, let's talk about the various effects. So, speaking about the effects of ocean acidification, the first thing that comes to our mind is that oceans are an important reservoir for carbon dioxide, absorbing a significant quantity of it, almost as good as one third, produced by anthropogenic activities and effectively buffering climate change. The uptake of atmospheric carbon dioxide is occurring at a rate exceeding the natural buffering capacity of the oceans, creating new problems in the form of ocean acidification. Right? Now, increasing acidity depresses the metabolic rates and immune responses in some organisms. So, it has a detrimental impact or a detrimental effect on their immunity, right? Other chemical reactions are also triggered, which result in a net decrease in the amount of carbonate ions available. This makes it more difficult for marine calcifying organisms such as coral, that is calcareous corals, and some plankton like calcareous planktons to form biogenic calcium carbonate, right? Now, commercial fisheries are threatened because acidification harms the calcifying organisms which form the base of the Arctic food webs, right? Acidification could damage the Arctic tourism economy and affect the way of life of indigenous people, which is a major pillar of Arctic tourism in the sport fishing and hunting industry, right? Now, increasing acidity accentuates coral bleaching as corals are very sensitive to changes in water composition, right? That is another very important caveat to it. So, these are the various effects or impacts of ocean acidification, right? Now, going on further, let's I'll give you 2 minutes to go quickly go through the effects of ocean acidification. In case any point is not clear, please inform me. Otherwise, we'll go on further. Alright, so now going on further because I don't see any doubts. So let's get to talking about the effects of ocean acidification on the calcifying ability. Calcifying ability basically adheres to or means the ability of the various calcareous corals to produce calcium carbonate, that is the like the exoskeletons that they have or the various secretions that they have, right? So basically, seawater absorbs carbon dioxide to produce carbonic acid, bicarbonate, and carbonate ions, right? Now, the carbonate ions are essential to the calcification process that allows certain marine organisms to build their calcium carbonate shells and skeletons. Like various examples would be hard tropical corals, cold water corals, mollusks, crustaceans, sea urchins, certain types of plankton, lobsters, etc. However, increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide levels lead to decrease in pH level, increase in the concentration of carbonic acid and bicarbonate ions, causing a decrease in the concentration of your carbonate ions, right? Thus, carbonate ions are less available and calcification is therefore harder to achieve and may be prevented altogether, right? That is another important caveat to it. Quickly read through the slide in case you have any doubts, let me know. Alright, now going on further, let's talk about the last thing, that is the impact of ocean acidification on cloud formation. Now, this is a very interesting topic in itself because many people think that what would, like, nobody usually gets to thinking around like ocean acidification से cloud formation पर भी कोई effect होगा, right? But there is a very predominant effect there as well. So, ocean acidification does impact cloud formation as well. दैट इज़ द जो आपका majority ऑफ सल्फर होता है ना एटमोसफियर में, अ गुड और अ ग्रेट लाइक अ वेरी बिग चंक ऑफ इट इन द एटमोसफियर इज emitted from the ocean in the form of dimethyl sulfide, that is DMS, which is produced by the phytoplankton, right? So phytoplanktons produce it. Now, some of the DMS produced by phytoplanktons enters the atmosphere and reacts to make sulfuric acid, which clumps into aerosols or microscopic airborne particles, right? Now, aerosols seed the formation of clouds, which help cool the earth by reflecting sunlight, right? But in acidified ocean water, phytoplankton जो होते हैं, they produce less amount of DMS. This reduction of sulfur may lead to decreased cloud formation, raising global temperatures, right? So that is how it goes on in furtherance to this over here, right? So that was all about the discussion for today here, guys. So I'll wrap up the session over here. In case you still have any doubts regarding anything, you can reach out to me on Unacademy. The link to my profile is already provided in the description box below, right? Also, if you guys are interested, you can check out my various plus courses that are running live on the platform. So you can also enroll for any of the courses that you are interested in. A new batch for the Environment and Ecology segment is beginning on the 2nd 2nd of December. So in case you're interested, please make sure you get yourselves enrolled for that course, right? It will be a morning batch, so those of you who are interested, please make sure you get yourselves enrolled, right? Thank you so much, guys. Good night. Bye bye. Bye, guys.